Death Race, because sometimes life really is just one big game of bumper cars with machine guns. In the not-so-distant future, when unemployment skyrockets and crime rates go bananas, the prison system gets a serious case of FOMO, so they hand the reins over to private companies to turn a profit. Terminal Island Penitentiary, always one for innovation, starts live-streaming car races on the internet. But like all good things, the internet got bored and started demanding something spicier. Enter Death Race. It's like a twisted game of Mario Kart, but with hardened criminals and a get-out-of-jail-free card for the winner. As the movie kicks off, we're down to the final two racers, the mysterious Frankenstein and his navigator, Case, and Frank's arch-nemesis, Machine Gun Joe. They're neck and neck, and tensions are higher than a college student during finals week. But uh-oh, Frank's car guns go on strike. Quick on his feet, Frank uses the car's rear shield as a makeshift weapon, giving them a fleeting advantage. However, Case knows they're pretty much toast without that shield. Despite the odds, Frank's like, YOLO, and tells Case to eject. He crosses the finish line at the exact moment Joe fires a missile, winning the race, but also, exploding. Talk about going out with a bang. Fast forward a few days and we meet Jensen Ames, an ex-con turned industrial worker who's making peanuts for working his butt off. When his fellow workers start to protest, the riot police show up and Jensen gets into the thick of it. After some good old fisticuffs, Jensen returns home to his wife and kid. But plot twist, a masked baddie barges in and kills Jensen's wife, framing him for the crime. Classic whodunit situation. Jensen wakes up to the cops arresting him for his wife's murder. Bummer. 6 months later, Jensen's shipped off to Terminal Island Prison, where he's greeted by the ever-so-welcoming guard, Ulrich. After a delightful ice-cold shower, Jensen gets a prison-style beatdown and is tossed into a cell with 3 roomies. But surprise, surprise, Jensen's no pushover and promptly KOs all of his cellmates. The next morning, Jensen hits up the prison cafeteria and catches the attention of Coach, Gunner, and Lists. They recognize Jensen as a former racing prodigy who hit the self-destruct button on his career. As if prison life isn't tough enough, Jensen gets some unwanted attention from Pachenko and his buddy, who spit on his food and threw some serious shade. So yeah, life's pretty peachy for our protagonist. Jensen, caught in a brawl with Pachenko, is interrupted by guards in a classic busted by the principal moment. They escort him to Claire Hennessy, the prison warden, who's clearly got a plan up her sleeve. She's like the Dumbledore of the prison, only more manipulative and with fewer beards. Hennessy offers Jensen the role of a lifetime, to become the new Frankenstein, the legendary racer who's so famous, he could probably sell his own line of energy drinks. The real Frankenstein kicked the bucket on the operating table after his last race, and Hennessy needs the legend to continue for the sake of sweet, sweet profits. Plus, since Frank already won 4 races, Jensen would only need to win 1 more for freedom. It's like winning the lottery, only with a much higher chance of fiery car crashes. Jensen's not sure if this whole risking his life thing is worth it, but Hennessy convinces him with a classic pep talk about fighting for freedom. Next, Jensen gets the grand tour of the prison garage, where he meets Coach and the crew, who are like the Justice League of car mechanics. They're building something super secret in a giant workshop and Jensen's curiosity is piqued. Coach introduces Jensen to his new ride, a modified Mustang V8 Fastback, equipped with enough gadgets to make James Bond green with envy. It's basically the car equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. They chat strategy in the prison yard, planning to eliminate opponents in the first 2 stages and rely on speed in the third. All drivers have a female navigator, except for Joe, who's just too cool for the ladies and prefers a teammate as his co-pilot. Liz, the resident racing expert, dishes the dirt on the competition. There's 14K, a triad member, Grim, a psychopath with a killer smile, Pachenko, the Aryan Brotherhood leader, and Travis Colt, a NASCAR star who fell from grace like a souped-up Icarus. Joe and his team approach to trash-talk Frankenstein, setting up an epic rivalry for the ages. Jensen spots a clue when inmates return from surveillance work with GPS tracking bracelets on their wrists. He realizes the man who killed his wife had one too, and things just got personal. On race day, Jensen suits up as Frankenstein, complete with mask and a ring that's bound to fetch a pretty penny on eBay. As he hops into the car, Coach reassures him that he can ditch the mask inside, because the windows are mirrored, just like the ones on the Mystery Machine. Moments later, the race kicks off, and it's like a family road trip gone wrong, minus Aunt Karen's incessant complaining. The guns don't activate until the second lap, so the start is less fast and furious. More bumper cars on steroids. Thanks to Case's local knowledge, Jensen goes head-to-head with Joe like they're in some ways-driven showdown. Case points out a secret shortcut, and Jensen zooms past Joe like he's on a scooter in the bike lane. That's when Hennessy activates the shield and weapons, which honestly sounds like something Elon Musk would design for a car. They're hidden in manholes on the ground, and drivers have to drive over them with all 4 wheels to activate their car's gadgets. Soon, the track lights up like a barbecue gone horribly wrong. Hennessy also activates the death heads, because apparently, she's all about that doom and gloom life. Grim sets Joe back after giving the run an impromptu oil facial, but sadly loses the race when 14K pulls a SpaceX move and pushes him off the track with a missile. Grim gets out of the car and starts walking down the street, only for Joe to turn him into road pizza. Meanwhile, Jensen tries to activate the weapons, but the machine gun has a case of stage fright, so Case climbs on the hood of the car to fix it, turning herself into a human bullseye. Jensen's skills allow him to dodge the bullet like he's in the Matrix, and Case returns safely to the passenger seat. Jensen swipes a defensive manhole cover from Colt, but like a bad first date, none of his defense systems seem to be working. The rear shield is hanging on for dear life, but Jensen MacGyvers a plan on the spot. He has Case drop the napalm and sit on his lap so he can eat the chair with napalm on it. Colt's car gets a napalm makeover and Case tosses the car's lighter at her, setting it ablaze and driving it off the track like a Hot Wheels toy gone wrong. With Colt out of the way, Jensen clashes with Joe again but is suddenly distracted by Pachenko, who flashes the same hand gesture as the guy who killed his wife. Rude. Joe takes advantage and pushes Jensen's car, making him finish last while Pachenko swipes first place like a true sneaky snake. After the race, 3 drivers are toast, and 6 remain for the next round. Post-race, Coach and his crew check the car and confirm that the gadgets are working fine, but no one can explain why they were on strike during the race. Jensen confronts Hennessy about the Pachenko situation and how he's basically been framed. She neither confirms nor denies, but reminds Jensen that if he ever wants to see his daughter again, he better keep racing. Jensen, feeling powerless, returns to the yard and chats with Coach. Turns out Coach is no longer a prisoner. He was granted parole 3 years ago but couldn't adjust to the new world. Who can blame him? The dating apps alone are enough to send anyone running. Later, while working on the car, Jensen spots Pachenko cruising by like he's in a low-budget Fast and Furious spin-off. Jensen follows him to his garage, but Pachenko's team captures him. Whoops, guess the element of surprise isn't Jensen's strong suit. So Jensen finds himself in a bit of a scrap with some goons. He's basically playing whack-a-mole with his fists until Liz swoops in like a ninja, stabbing one of them in the back. Jensen grabs a metal shard from the ground. Guess he's a bit of a recycling enthusiast, and stabs the henchman. Pachenko's next in line for a one-way ticket to Payne Town. Jensen is just about to cancel Pachenko's subscription to Life when Ulrich shows up with some tasers, ruining the party. The next day, before the second leg of the race, Pachenko taunts Jensen with a hand gesture. Don't worry, it's not that one. But Jensen is too cool for school and doesn't fall for it. Instead, he drives slowly, luring Pachenko into a tunnel for a little chat with Case. He confronts her about sabotaging Frank's car and she spills the beans about Hennessy's evil plan. With the truth out, Jensen hits the gas and rejoins the race, but he's still got Pachenko in his sights. After some vehicular shenanigans, Jensen pulls a slick move and turns his car around to fire Pachenko while driving backward, like a total boss. Pachenko meets a concrete wall and Jensen finishes the job with some good old neck snapping. That's what you get for messing with Jason Statham. Hennessy, being the total drama queen she is, decides it's time to unleash her masterpiece, the Dreadnought. This multi-weapon tanker truck is the ultimate party crasher, and it takes out some of Jensen's fellow racers like it's swatting flies. Jensen and Joe are the only ones left standing, or, well, driving. Realizing they're up against the monster truck from hell, Jensen and Joe team up like a post-apocalyptic Batman and Robin to take down the Dreadnought. They pull off a sweet maneuver, activating a trap that sends the truck flying into the air. With the second phase of the race done, they're off to the final showdown. Joe, being a bit suspicious of Jensen's voice, is it Frank or isn't it, pays him a visit in the pit. Meanwhile, Hennessy and Ulrich decide it's time to take Jensen out, because who even needs a human driver when you've got a mask, right? But they're about to find out that you can't just dispose of a guy like Jensen that easily. The next day, in a diabolical twist, Ulrich plants a bomb under Jensen's car while Hennessy distracts everyone with a speech about the race's third stage. Jensen's spidey senses tingle and he's convinced that the races are rigged to eliminate anyone going for their 5th win. Coach hears this wild theory and they decide to binge-watch some old race footage together in the garage. A video of Grimm's demise sparks an idea, and Jensen requests Liz to add a sneaky half-gallon reserve tank to his car. Then he heads over to Joe's garage for another favor. Maybe Joe's like his genie in a toolbox. Later, Jensen's changing into Frankenstein's shoes, and Hennessy pops in to hand him his release papers and make a tempting offer. If he wins, she wants him to stay in prison and continue being Frankenstein because, hey, it's home sweet home, right? She tries to guilt-trip him saying he's no father, and that an ex-con can't give his daughter a peaceful life, so staying would be a loving act. Jensen just pockets the release papers and enters the race like a boss without giving her an answer. As they hit the track, Case spills the beans that Hennessy had a little chat with her and asks her to sabotage Jensen's winning streak. The race starts and Ulrich plays Puppet Master with the manhole covers, activating them only when Joe drives over them. Joe, apparently in a bad mood, starts shooting at Jensen, damaging his rear shield. Jensen drops it, but Joe dodges it with a been there done that attitude. Hennessy, desperate for viewer engagement, activates a defensive manhole cover, but Joe's like, nope, and blows it up with a rocket. Jensen swerves to dodge more rockets, revealing his mad driving skills. The rockets hit the spot behind Grimm when he died, and boom, a hole opens up, offering a sweet escape from the prison nightmare. Hennessy goes ballistic, cutting the livestream and sending all available agents to catch them. She hits the bomb detonator with a smirk, but nothing happens. Surprise! Coach and his crew had already removed the bomb and deactivated it. Sneaky, huh? Joe and Jensen make a mad dash for the bridge, but police cars are hot on their heels. Time for plan B. Jensen releases the extra half-gallon reserve tank, causing an explosion and a wall of fire that makes the cops rethink their career choices. Both prisoners get through the gates and split up, leaving the helicopters in a wild goose chase after Jensen. As they drive, Case agrees to help Jensen with the final part of his plan. She owes Frank big time, and Hennessy already gave her release papers. They pull a switcheroo near some construction cranes. Jensen hides there while Case takes the wheel, now dressed in Frank's clothes and mask. When the helicopters finally corner her, she surrenders, leaving Jensen free to make his great escape. Jensen and Joe hop on a freight train, bonding like long-lost brothers. Back at the prison, Ulrich boasts about the off-the-charts ratings, and Hennessy receives a special delivery. She opens the gift package, and surprise, it's the bomb Ulrich had planted under Jensen's car. It explodes, taking both of them out in a fiery blaze. Coach, outside on the tarmac, presses the detonator with a sly grin. Fast forward 6 months, and Jensen and Joe are chilling in sunny Santa Rosalia, Mexico. They're living the dream as mechanics at their own auto repair shop, and Jensen has regained custody of his daughter. It's all sunshine, tacos, and engine grease. Eventually, Case pays them a visit after her release papers are processed, and the whole crew's reunited. Moral of the story? Mario Kart.